All right, I'm 365 days of horsemanship, day 139. So, yeah, day 2 of Elsa's clinic was really, I think, the day we kind of started getting down to the nitty-gritty of things. It's been really interesting, I think, watching 3 different clinics this year. There's so many different aspects to freedom-based training, and I think it's so valuable being able to get some reinforcement and repetition of some of the kind of core basic aspects, like the scale of concern, so concern, curiosity and comfort, and then you also have intolerance, intertolerance, and then curiosity, enjoyment and acceptance. And I think on this clinic, something that's really struck me is we've been talking a lot about thinking of curiosity as a muscle that needs training and how you might train it. And this is what we talked a lot about on day 2, is how do you develop the curiosity muscle? Because fundamentally, this is what freedom-based training is using the horse's natural cycles of comfort, concern and curiosity to reinforce curiosity and associate it with your presence, so then the horse feels better just when they're with you, and they also train themselves, and you help train them into being curious more often, using their senses in order to help themselves come down from concern or up from comfort. And so on day 2, we talked a little bit about how you develop curiosity in a horse, or curiosity about things that are difficult. And this is where I think the sort of reverse psychology of freedom-based training is so fascinating, because most good training is kind of reverse psychology anyway. And it's really a difficult concept to get your mind around, this concept that in order to get what you want, you have to do less of it, or not enough of it. And this idea of training the curiosity muscle, that in the beginning your horse's curiosity muscle is not very strong, and most of the time they are in concern or they're in comfort, and they have ways of behaving in areas of focus that they prefer to be in, things that they can be curious about, and then things that are more difficult for them to be curious about. And so in the beginning, you just want to reward their curiosity, and you want to keep rewarding all of the curiosity that you can, until their curiosity muscle is stronger and they're being curious more often, because curiosity is building them a friend. And they like that. They like to feel safe. And so if you're giving them safety when you're curious, when they're curious, they're going to want to do that more. It's interesting because we talked a little bit about how if your horse only has a friend when they're concerned, then they will always look to be more concerned, because that's the time when they get connection, when they get safety. And so if you have to start with what you have. I think this is the thing, is that it's like anything you want in freedom-based training, you have to kind of allow your desire for it to melt away and to just use what you have to train with. And so you begin with small questions that, or small expectations, where you'll go on an ear flick or on an eye flick. And curiosity is the using of the 5 senses. When your horse uses one of their 5 senses, so sight, smell, taste, touch, hearing, that's curiosity. And if your horse is rewarded with your harmony and flow enough times when they're curious, they will want to be curious more, and the amount of things they are curious about will naturally expand. If you want that process to go a little faster, you can make it harder for them to have flow with you. And so if your horse is very good at a certain focus, instead of rewarding the small changes of focus, the small curiosity changes of the eyes and the ears and the smell or whatever, you keep being in supportive leadership around them, whatever way that might be. Supportive leadership just means that you are not the same as the horse. So you keep being in supportive leadership until you get a category change. So until you get a change from herd to self, or self to environment, or environment to leader, or whatever it is, until you get, the eyes and the ears and a clear focus change from one category to another category. After that, you can then, once that's good and you've trained them to change categories, and they feel more motivated to change categories more often, because when they do that, you get in flow with them, then you can start to be more selective about what categories you change focus for. And they also then are getting curious about how to get you to stop, to come into flow with them. And how quickly or how slowly you do that, how fast or slow you want to change things is kind of up to you. But this idea of like building curiosity like a muscle is really powerful. And we talked a lot as well about how you need rest. So like if you go to the gym, you need to go to the gym and then you need to rest in order to get the best out of the gym the next time that you go. And that if something is too heavy for you, sometimes the best thing is going to be to have help. And so we talked a lot about a lot of different environments, different situations where you might support your horse more or not, or where it's important to have rest with your horse, or important to push your horse. When you can recognize if your horse is being pushed into concern rather than comfort, that potentially it's time to give them some more flow because their curiosity muscle is getting tired. And Elsa described it as horses being like small children. When they get tired, they either go to sleep or they have a tantrum and then they go to sleep. And that was really interesting to think of it like that horses become more agitated after we've done this work with them sometimes, because when they get good at being curious, it can be, before they get good at being curious, it can be really exhausting. Learning can be really exhausting for all of us. And it's so great just to be able to formulate those ideas into words now with you guys. Like I feel just more and more solidified in my understanding of the concept. And it's such a simple concept to say and such a complicated concept to understand and apply in some ways. It's been just incredible. We're halfway through the last day now, and there's so much more that I could say, but I'm kind of like trying to just take some highlights for the vlog, and then I can do a proper post and really get down to grips with everything. But it's been super cool. It's been super cool, super awesome. I've had a really amazing time, and I'm really happy that I came. So very exciting.